5 years ago, a friend of mine introduced me to a scholarship that would one day change my life. 5 years later, I've completed my master's degree and currently undergoing a PhD using the same scholarship. And that is why it is always a thing of joy to talk about the scholarship to anyone out there who was like me 5 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about the Open Door Scholarship. Without further ado, let's get right into the scholarship. So, who can apply? Any foreign citizen from any country around the globe can apply for this scholarship. Any stateless person and also foreign citizens who are currently abroad can apply for the scholarship. Let's talk about the stages and tracks. This scholarship is divided into 3 stages as well as 4 different tracks. For the tracks, we have the bachelor's, the master's, PhD, and postdoctoral. It means that you can apply for the bachelor's, you can apply for the master's, the PhD, and the postdoctoral. Your younger one can apply for already have a bachelor's. Any of your friends or whomever you hold dear to your heart can apply for the scholarship. So if you have the requirement to apply for the bachelor's, you can apply for the bachelor's. If you have a bachelor's degree already, you can apply for the master's degree. If you have a master's degree, you can apply for the PhD. If you have the PhD, you can apply for the postdoctoral. But you can as well redo another master's degree. Like if you already hold a master's degree, you can as well apply for a second master's. It is permitted. So maybe you already have a master's degree, but you want to have a second master's degree, you can apply for a second master's degree through the Open Door Scholarship, and it is very allowed. And let's talk about the stages. There are 3 stages. We have the first stage, the second stage, and the third or interview stage. For the first stage is actually portfolio filling. You just want to know everything about you, your educational background, publications, literally everything that makes you. Talking about with respect to your academic portfolio. Maybe you have a degree and then you have volunteering, you have certifications, online courses you took, publications, all of those make up your portfolio. So you are going to now, upload all of those documents, fill the information in, and then be graded based on your portfolio. That is for the first stage. And for the first stage, both the bachelor's, the master's, the PhD, and postdoctoral, they would all go through the first stage. For the second stage is usually a protocol exam. Bachelor's, master's, PhD go through the second stage, which is the protocol exams. But for the postdoctoral, you would undergo something like a research presentation for the second stage. And then the last stage, which is the third stage or the interview stage, is strictly for PhD and the postdoctoral participants. So for that one, it's just for you to have an interview with a prospective supervisor in your field. In this place or in this stage, they get to hear from you. They want to know how much knowledge about your field you have with respect to your research interest that you filled in the first stage. So whatever information you are filling in this first stage, you need to be very careful about it as you can account for it later on, especially if you are undergoing a PhD or the postdoctoral. That is that about that. So let's talk about the timeline. Every year, this scholarship is opened on the 1st of September and run through to sometime in December or as last year, November. But this year, the scholarship would be open on the 20th of August. It means they just have 15 days away from when the scholarship is going to be open. And no, you cannot go now and open any account because, you cannot create any account, it is not there. But the website has already been opened for this phase, the 2026-2027 phase of the scholarship. So on the 20th of August, the registration is going to officially open. So you can start your registration. That means account creation, portfolio filling, like I told you earlier. That is that. On the 1st of November is the registration deadline. It means you can no longer create any new account, to start, applying. That means if you cannot open or create any account from the 20th of August to the 30th of November, you cannot do it on the 1st of November. And on the 6th of November is the portfolio edit cutoff. So on the 6th of November, you can no longer add or subtract whatever you have, whatever information you have given. Whatever it is there, that is what they will make do with it. And whether you submit or not, it will automatically submit for you. And then on the 13th of November is when the first stage result will be out. It is so fast. So once it is done on the 6th of November, on the 13th of November, expect a list of names of those people who made it through the first stage to the second stage, those who are eligible to participate in the second stage of the scholarship. So let's talk about the subject areas. This scholarship is open to 14 different subject areas. We have applied mathematics and AI, biology and biotechnology, business and management, chemistry and material science, clinical medicine and public health, computer and data science, earth and environmental sciences, economics and econometrics, education and psychology, engineering and technology, physical sciences and technology, politics and international studies, Russian language and culture, urbanism, and civil engineering. It means that you can choose from all of these subject areas to participate in. And one good thing about this whole thing is that you can choose more to participate in more than one subject area. It is allowed. So, for instance, I'm in the chemistry field. I can choose chemistry and material science, public health, biology, and biotechnology, and participate in three of them. When the results are out, I can now weigh which one I want to, go into, or which of these subject areas I really want to undergo my master's or bachelor's or PhD, and then choose it. And that is why a scholarship is very beautiful. You have a lot of freedom to dabble around, to go left, right, and come back in the center. So now let's talk about how to apply for the scholarship. First of all, you create your account. In creating an account, a new account is literally your email address and the password. No biggie. Email address, the password, phone number, I'm not sure, but then you'll be able to confirm the email in your confirm your email. Yeah, they'll send you a link to your email address and then you confirm it. Easy peasy. So every year, if you participated last year, it doesn't mean that your account is still going to be active. No. So every year you would have to open a new account. So if you created an account last year, you still need to create another account this year. And then you pick your track. You pick the track that you want to participate in, the track and the subject area. That is, we are participating in bachelor's, you pick bachelor's and then pick the subject area, maybe chemistry and material science. You're participating in master's, you do the same, or PhD, you do the same. And then you fill your personal information, literally your name, your phone number, your address, the language you're participating in. So you can either participate in Russian language or in English language, and you do not need any proof of language proficiency, So if you just want to participate in the scholarship using English language or in English language medium, you just need to choose English language, and that is it. And then, yeah, the next thing is for you to fill in your portfolio, talking about certifications, everything that makes you you. I think I've spoken long about that enough. So you just fill in your portfolio and then you upload your documents, publications, certifications, your transcript, your degree certificate, everything. You upload your documents and then you take the entrance test. There is an entrance test for you to take. It's not very difficult. You have three chances. You can take that exam three times. So if you take the first one and you feel like you can do better, with better grades, you have the opportunity to take it again for the second time and for the third time. And maybe you took the first one and you failed, you can take it the second time and then take it the third time again. But If you fail all three times, you cannot proceed to submit your application, and you will not have any, second chance. And then once you are done taking the entrance test, then you can submit your portfolio. Is are easy. So once you do all of that, you submit your portfolio and get ready for the result on the 13th of November. So now let's look at the requirements what you actually need to apply for this scholarship. So there are mandatory documents, and there are also optional documents. But the optional documents are actually point boosters, are your portfolio boosters. So literally everything is important. For the mandatory documents, it means that if you do not upload them, you cannot submit your application. But for the optional ones, even if you don't have them, you can submit your application. But the chances of you getting the scholarship are very thin because we are competing with literally over hundred thousands of students across the globe, and everyone is coming in with their A game. So if you don't submit them, you're like, well, let me not talk about it because I know you would pass. So you have the motivational letter. So there is actually a section, a filling is not for you to write it and then upload it. No, it's for you to fill it in on the application website. It's just a series of very short questions. Why your course, your research interest, and why Russia? Why do you want to study in Russia? So they are just very simple, short questions, about your research interest and all of that. Nothing to work yourself over. But I always preach excellence. So whatever is worth doing well. If you would have to do it, then you might as well put in your A game, right? And then your proof of educational level. This is where you have to upload your transcript, your um degree certificates, and literally all of your educational whatever proof of education. If you said you've completed a bachelor's, where's your certificate? If you said you're applying for masters, where's your you're applying for PhD, where's your master's certificate? That's literally all about that. But then there's a misconception. Some people will be like, I've not collected my original certificate. Can I apply? Of course, you can upload your statement of result there, and it is very, very allowed. Yeah. So, and also, even if you have not completed your bachelor's, you can as well, but in your final year, you can submit your score sheet from first year to your final year. You can submit your score sheet in that space, and you'll be eligible for it. If you want to apply for masters, you can submit your score sheet for all of your bachelors. If you want to apply for PhD, you can submit your score sheet for your master. So you must not get done with your masters to apply for PhD, but you must be in your final year to apply for all of these. All right. And then for the optional, but very, very important for your portfolio boosting, we have the certifications, publications, online courses, and all of that. But even if you do not have a publication, doesn't mean that you shouldn't apply. You should apply. And I always encourage people, like for me, I'm from Nigeria, so NYC, I uploaded my NYC certification there as well because that's literally like a requirement, right? So, I mean, it's necessity. I mean, that is my portfolio, makes my portfolio. I also I uploaded some volunteering certificate that I had, all of that work, and I got a recommendation letter from NYC, both from the Ogun State government and from NYC itself. So I applied, I uploaded all of that. I did not take chances at all. I literally uploaded. It's better for you to upload something that is not very important than for you to assume that it's not important and not score a point. So for me, it's better I apply and not get a point there than for me to not apply and miss out on a point, because at the end of the day they are going to show you how your everything was graded. You see the scores there, 0, 1, 4, and all of that. So that is that about that. Upload literally everything that makes you you. Do not take chances at all, because everyone else that's applying against you, they're also not taking chances. So why should you take any chance, right? So that is that about that. So let's talk about some frequently asked questions from the previous years. Some of my friends that have been. I mean, if you watch this video, you drop a like, you subscribe, you automatically my friend. So once in a while you may see me saying thank you, my friend, in the comment section, because I mean I hold you really, really dear to my heart. Some of the frequently asked questions is IELTS. required. No, it is not required. This is a language country, right? Like I told you earlier, it is either you choose to undergo the put the exams, or literally everything you interface in either Russian or English. So if you are from an English speaking country, or your exams, your studies was done in English language, you should choose English, but you do not have to prove it. So no IELTS, no TOEFL, no Duolingo, nothing. You do not need any language proficiency exams, any proof or whatsoever. Is WAEC accepted? Yes, WAEC is accepted. NECO is also accepted. So, but you have to, like if I'm applying for bachelor's, I have to upload those, right? If you're applying for masters, it is not needed. You don't need to apply to upload WAEC and NECO. But I uploaded, because I do not know where scores would come or scores wouldn't come. So I didn't want to take any chances. But to tell you the truth, they are not graded on if you're applying for masters, except things have changed. I uploaded, but it wasn't graded because I was applying for masters, and for masters, I don't need WAEC, I don't need any NECO, right? For those of you that are from other countries, WAEC is like the West African exams that we write from the whole West African countries. We write the exams at the final year of our secondary school. We call it secondary school. Some of people call it high school. Yeah, so we just write it there. So that's the exam we use to, get um admitted into university. Yeah, so that is why and if you're applying for masters, it is not needed. If you're applying for bachelor's, it is needed. It's as needed as you applying for masters and uploading your bachelor's or your transcript, academic transcript. So the next frequently asked question is there an age limit? Yes, there is an age limit. And for bachelor's, it is between 16 to 23 years. So if you are below 16 years, you cannot apply now. If you are over 23 years, you will not be admitted into the bachelor's degree track. And for the master's, it is between 20 years and 33 years. For now, so if you are over 33 years, I'm sorry, you will not be able to qualify for the master's. And for the PhD, it is between 22 years and 35 years. If you are over 35, nope. If you are below 22, no. And for the postdoctoral track, it is between 24 to 39 years old. If you are above 39 years, you cannot apply for the postdoctoral. And if you are below 24, I'm sorry, you cannot apply. But I mean, every year a lot change, so there could be some changes this year that I do not know about. So you should keep an eye on that. If you're above a certain age but you still want to apply, you can make your inquiries. Just read further, research further, and get around with it. Is it fully funded? Yes and no, right? Yes, because this scholarship recently partnered with an organization called Intero Abrazavanye. So they get to augment every other thing that the Open Door Scholarship does not augment. So if you get a scholarship, they get to, fund your travel expenses to and fro. I currently have an health insurance that is over 1.1 million rubles, and this health insurance covers, even God forbid you die during your studies, it can even transport your corpse back to your country. So it is that encompassing. They give you they also cover your monthly dorm fee, because at first they were giving like 24,000 and they give 30,000 rubles every month. So your health insurance is covered, your flight fee to and fro is covered. So it's literally like saying that you should stay and study, but it is only for those that are willing to study in Russian language. So if you're not studying Russian language, you cannot be entitled to this scholarship. So that's why I said yes and no. So for no, no means that it is only covers your tuition fee. You're not going to pay any tuition fee. The discount on your dorm accommodation. So for instance, if every other person is paying 5,000 rubles, you pay 2,500 rubles. So the discount on that, you have like a metro card, a metro and bus card, where you can research with your metro and your bus. You can go anywhere within Moscow or anywhere there's, as long as there's a train and you have that card, you can go, within that amount. Currently it's 900, and $39 something ruble every month. They just increase the price, but that is it. So you can go anywhere with that card. And it is pretty cheaper because if you don't have that card, you spend way more on transportation. But because you're a student, you get to have that, student card. We call it the social card. So you have with that social card, you can be able to go anywhere on discounted, rate. And yeah, also those are pretty much the benefits, because if you are not on the interior Pennsylvania, if you're strictly on open door scholarship, you're studying in English, you are only entitled to all of the benefits I just mentioned. So you get to also do your insurance yourself. So you have to, it's mandatory for you to have an health insurance before you can be able to get into the dorm. So yeah, also, can married people apply? Yes, married people can apply. They do not, discriminate. You can be married and apply, but they will not give your, where those scholarships where if you're married, they can give both your spouse and you visa. No, in this case, no. So both of you on your own or your, but if you're married, you can also apply. Can I change universities later? Of course, you cannot change universities later. You cannot, and that is why you have the opportunity to choose up to 6 universities. So if the first university, and the first university is literally is actually supposed to be your priority university. So for instance, I want to school in Mrs. as my first choice, but if Mrs. does not admit you for maybe obvious reasons or for some very funny reasons, your second choice university can, can admit you the third and the last. So but after that you cannot change. For PhD, I tried to change my university at a certain point. It was not accepted, even though my academic grades were good. I got a supervisor in his university, but it was not accepted. But that year, there were a lot of immigration challenges, a lot of issues with the educational, sector. So it could be an internal issue. I'm not sure. So I cannot, tell you that, oh, no or yes. When you're choosing your universities, make sure that they are your top choice universities, so that later on you don't start regretting or thinking that, oh, I wish I did this, oh, I wish I chose this university or not. So you should do that. You should just make sure you do your assignment right. So how many universities can I choose? You can choose 6 universities, like I said. And then there's also something I would like to say. In this first stage where you are asked to choose 6 universities, right? It doesn't mean that those must be the 6 universities that you would apply to. You must, put later on in the scholarship. In maybe after you must have one second stage, they'll give you some papers to fill where you can now fill another 6 universities again. So for now, if you are having difficult time coming up with the kind of universities you want to apply or choose because of limited knowledge, you can just randomly choose them. Then later, when you have won the scholarship, you can now sit down. At that time, you have a lot of time to sit down and start researching, knowing the university you want to go to, choosing the right kind of university you want to go to. Yeah. So don't beat yourself around too much. Is the competition difficult? Guys, it's difficult. There's one thing I like to, I wouldn't sugarcoat any words to you. No, the competition itself is difficult. Is questions are difficult. I will not sit here and tell you that, oh no, it's very cheap. No, it is very difficult. Is it doable? Yes, it is doable. And very funny that as you are failing, other people are also failing. I don't know if you understand. So as it's hard to you, it's hard to every other person as well, right? So for now, you cannot create an account to start because the scholarship itself will open on the 20th of August. So what I can tell you for a fact is that you can go on the website and start looking through the demo questions. So demo questions give you an insight as to what the exams would be. So go on the website, scroll down to the subject area, click on the subject area that you want to apply. For instance, chemistry. Sorry, I'm in love with chemistry. For example, chemistry. Click on chemistry. You see the tracks. You see bachelor's, master's, and PhD postdoc. Click on the track that you want to apply in. For example, master's. When you click on it, you see demo questions, and then you see expected area, concentration area, something like, what we call in Nigeria areas of concentration, right? So just click on it, and then you see all the topics you're supposed to read. You see all the textbooks you're supposed to those subjects are inside, and then you click on the demo questions. They'll tell you, see how many questions you're expected to answer, the session that has the multiple choice. There is also an essay part for you to write. You can fill it in there, or you can, open an MS Word on your laptop and, solve everything there and then upload it. But it gets very, very tricky because it is a pre-taught exam. So as you are trying to swipe, if they see anything that is not supposed to be part of that exams, they could disqualify you when in the actual sense you're not even opening any material at all. Yeah, but it is very difficult to fill on the form on the platform because of, for those of us that are in science, it's not every of these, letters, scientific letters, or symbols that you can find on the platform, but you can find them in your Word document. But as you are opening, make sure you shut down every every tablet, every page, whatever thing that you do not need for the scholarship, to avoid being disqualified. It is proof that literally everything. If a pin drops in the background, they will hear. And that is why I would say it's also difficult because you're expected to literally face in one direction. So as your face is going like this, you'll be seeing red. Boom, boom. So it's kind of also distracting you from, the main exam as you're trying to, maybe someone just walks in, they just show that, and they will analyze everything in the background, and, and all of that for you. So it's just for you to be very, very serious, very, very careful. I'm sorry, very you should be very, very careful about what you're doing throughout your exams and all of that. So the competition itself is very doable, but it is, you have to put in a lot of effort, and it has become even more difficult now because even those people that currently finish from masters, some of them could not get a PhD. It is becoming that serious. So it's not like, oh, open the, let me just, no, you have to put in the work. And I always tell people that whatever is worth doing is worth doing. Was one of my favorite quotes. Whatever is worth doing is worth, if you want to show up, if you might as well show up, right? Yeah. So between now and August 20th, just start preparing your passport. And then you would need an identity document before you can be able to, write the exams. But you must not have an international passport at the time of application. No. So if you have an international passport, good for you. But for example, let me speak as a Nigerian. If you have an international, if you have a voter's card, you can use your voter's card. You can also use your name. So you must not have an international passport to apply. Later on, when you are given the scholarship and you want to start processing your visa, you cannot start, present your international passport. But for now, voter's card or a name would do. So any identity document from your country would suffice. So you can use any identity document, must not international passport. Yeah. So final year students can apply. Yeah, I already spoke about all of that. So you prepare your awards, prepare your certifications, your publications, if any, research papers. For PhD, at least have one motivation letter. And then for now, you don't need any English translation, so don't worry. But later, you would need to translate and notarize and legalize at the embassy. So a lot of work is waiting for you in the front. Yeah, so that is that about that everything. And this video is long enough, so when it gets to the second stage, we're going to talk about that comprehensively. I'm going to make a video telling you how to write exams, the best approach, how to sit for the pre-taught exams, and of course I'm always very, very excited to help. And if you ever make it to Russia, ask about me, and I'm sure I'll be very, very happy for us to at least have coffee and just over that about that. I believe I've touched everywhere, but if you still have any questions, if you still have any concerns, you can ask them in the comment section. I have a track record of always answering, always responding to my comments, and especially when it comes to open door scholarship, it's very, very dear and very close to my heart. Okay, so I'm making this video not as someone who read this online, no, someone that is living this dream. Someone that is currently undergoing this scholarship. It's a very beautiful scholarship. Russia is beautiful, and Russia awaits you. Congratulations in advance. Bye.